What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Kelsey's Constrictors. In today's video, we're going to go over some non-negotiable snake tools. If you are just getting into snakes, whether it be your first pet or you're looking to go into breeding, I'm going to cover some things that you're definitely going to want to have in your collection, in your little snake toolbox. These are things that are both necessary and highly helpful in things such as weighing your snakes, making sure that they're healthy, things like that. And then some of the other things I'm going to cover are some absolutely necessary things that you have to have, and I will make sure I differentiate between the two as we go along. So the first thing we're going to go over today is a non-negotiable snake tool is going to be feeding tongs. You can get these online, you can get them at your local reptile store. These are really great because obviously it keeps your hands out of the way as you're trying to feed your snakes, especially if you're feeding frozen thawed rodents. You have to move the rat around a little bit and shake it around so that it kind of looks alive for them. So these are a great tool to have. If you don't have these, it's not an emergency to get them, but again, it is something you really should have. If you have smaller snakes, I've done this, you can dangle the rat by the tail, but it's a lot easier with this because you can grab the entire body and shake the whole thing and kind of make it look like it might be walking around their enclosure a little bit. So if you're having trouble feeding a snake just by holding it by the tail, this might be a good option for you. The next non-negotiable snake tool you need is going to be a water bowl. This obviously is for a hatchling snake. It's very small. Whatever water bowl you choose for your snake, make sure that it's big enough that they can get inside of it and soak if they need to. If you have humidity problems inside your enclosures, having a big water bowl for your snakes is especially important because they need to be able to get in there and soak. If they're getting ready to shed, that's something a lot of snakes do, is they will soak in their water bowl to help get that old skin off. The next thing you want to make sure you have is a hide. Now it doesn't have to look like this. I know a lot of people that make homemade hides. You can actually get some cheap plastic Tupperware bowls. You can go to Goodwill or your local thrift store, find some Tupperware bowls, and then you can take a saw or some sort of soldering tool and you can cut a little hole into the plastic bowl and then place it upside down into their enclosure, and that will act as a great cheap hide. Another necessary snake tool is going to be your heating element. Again, doesn't have to look like this. This is a very common one that people use, Zoom Ed. This is for a small tank, 10 gallons or less, I believe. They come in all different sizes. You can use this if you would like. They do have stickiness on the back of it. The problem with these that I'm not a big fan of is that they do tend to lose their stickiness over time, especially if you're replacing it. If you're upgrading your snake's enclosure and you're replacing the same heating element on the bottom of each one, eventually it will stop sticking. These are great heating pads, but again, if you're using a rack system, most rack systems come with heat built in already or place to put the heat pad or the heat tape. So these are really more for glass enclosures and things like that. They are a good option, and that's actually going to move us into our next non-negotiable tool, which is a thermostat. You have to have one of these. I will never stop preaching this enough. These heating pads, the one like I just showed you, I've actually measured them before without having a thermostat plugged into it, and they get up to 125 degrees Fahrenheit. So it can definitely burn your snake. It can kill your snake if you have a small snake and they're laying directly on it. So you definitely want to plug your whatever heating element you're using, whether it be heat tape or heating pad, you have to plug it into a thermostat. Because you're going to set the temperature that you want it to be at, and it's never going to get above that temperature. That being said, bringing into our next non-negotiable tool, which I couldn't find mine anywhere, but you want to get yourself a good laser temperature gun, because as great as these thermostats are, and they do work really well, obviously lots and lots of people use them. There's a lot of different kinds, a lot of different brands. They can go bad, they can be faulty, their wiring can get messed up. If you bought one used, it could already be messed up. So if you're buying a new one, if you're changing thermostats, if you're using one you've never used before, you want to get some sort of laser temperature gun to make sure every day that you're checking the temperature where the heating element is and make sure that it's actually the temperature that the thermostat reads. I have had 2 plastic bins in another rack, which I have to replace the heat tape on, so I'm not using it right now, but I have had 2 plastic bins actually have an entire hole melted through the bottom of them because the heating element got too hot. So that's Non-negotiable, absolutely necessary. You have to have a thermostat. You have to be able to maintain the temperatures. Also, in addition to the laser temperature gun, go ahead and get yourself a humidity and thermometer to go inside of the rack or inside of the tank. That's going to help you measure what's actually going on inside their bin, inside their tub, inside their glass tank, whatever you have. As I've said in many of my other videos, and I will continue saying, humidity and temperature is super important for your snakes. So you have to have some way to measure it. You have to have some way to fix it. You have to be prepared in case things go wrong. So that kind of gives you lots of little fail safes to help you keep your temperature and humidity right. The laser temperature gun, the humidity and temperature gauge, which is always going to be inside their enclosure, and then obviously your thermostat plugged into your heating element, which hopefully will be your first fail safe. And then with the other extra things, that's just extra layers of security to make sure that nothing bad is happening inside the bins when you aren't looking. Another great fail-safe is going to be a mister. This is going to help keep your humidity up as well. I do have a couple of racks that they have a really hard time keeping humidity up. I'm not really sure why. It could be the way the rack was designed, the way it was built. The tubs might not be flush to the top of the PVC. It really could be anything. But I do have trouble in one of my racks, one or two of them, keeping humidity up. So this is a great tool to help me kind of offset that. Next on our list of necessary tools for snakes is going to be a snake hook. This is a super duper cheap retractable one. It works fine for my ball pythons. I do not use this snake hook to pick any of them up unless they're babies because it's kind of flimsy just because it's so small and cheap. You can buy the big nice fancy snake hooks from Reptile store or from online. They're a lot more expensive, but if you have bigger snakes or if you need to use them to pick your snakes up, that's a great option. Just for using it for hook training, tap training, using it to help with feeding, if you feed live. This kind of snake hook is totally fine for that. This is what I use. But that's definitely something you want. If you would like me to do a video on hook or tap training with a snake hook with some of my snakes, I can show you how to do that. Most of my snakes are pretty docile. I don't really have to use it in the sense of actually training them, but if you're interested in me doing that kind of video, I can definitely do that. So just leave a comment below if that's something you'd like to see. And last but not least on our list of non-negotiable snake tools, you're going to want to get a digital scale. It really doesn't matter the size. I wouldn't go any smaller than this, especially if you have bigger snakes, but this is totally fine for my snakes as long as it has a big enough platform. And then you want to get a bowl or a tub or a bin or something that they can fit inside, and then you put the bin on top, you zero it out so that you only get the weight of the snake, and then you put them inside the bowl, and this is how you weigh them. Weighing your snakes is super important, especially when they're little. I have had a couple of baby snakes die in the past, unfortunately, and weighing them is one of the best ways, especially with babies, to make sure that they're staying on track, that they're growing properly, that they're not sick. Because if a snake is eating and it's not gaining weight, or if it's eating and losing weight, that's really bad. So this is a really easy fail-safe way. I know I keep using that term, but I'm not really a risk taker. So these kinds of things are really important to me. I like to have backup plans. So this is a really great fail-safe backup plan type thing. If you're concerned that you have a sick snake, instead of spending $150 to the vet, you can weigh them. You can kind of track it for a week, maybe two. See if they're actually losing weight, and then that also gives you some evidence when you do go to the vet. If you end up needing to go, you can say, you know, I weighed her on this date and she was 200 grams, and then I weighed her the next week and she was 170 and she ate last week. See, that's a problem. You don't want a small snake losing weight. Bigger snakes, they can fluctuate a little bit more. They have a little bit more wiggle room as far as their weight goes before you start getting concerned if they're sick. But again, same principle. Even if you have an adult large snake, they can go up to a year without eating anything at all. I just had a snake come off a 9-month food strike. He never lost any weight that entire time, maybe 100 grams. Nothing too concerning for me, nothing that made me go, oh no, like I think something's wrong with him. So I just kind of waited it out, and then eventually he ate, and now he's fine. He's been eating every time. So it happens sometimes, but having the scale, it puts my mind at ease. Maybe it would put your mind at ease as well. It's just a really easy way to make sure that your snakes are growing, that they're not sick, that everything is really just going the way it should be. So definitely recommend. They're not very expensive either. You can get them online. I think I got this one from Amazon for like 25 bucks. So also I do link all of this stuff into my descriptions, my Amazon links and all that. They are affiliate links. It's no cost to you to purchase things using those links, but I do get a small commission from that. So if you are in the market for anything like this, I do put all the links below in all my videos. So check that stuff out if you're in need of something. I just finished filming the entire video and then I saw that I forgot to put something in there. So if you are getting into breeding snakes, this is non-negotiable. This is a probe kit. It comes with several different sizes. You can get this on Amazon. I will link it below as well. And oh, I thought I was missing one, but it's hidden underneath. Okay, so it comes in a little pack like this, and it comes with a bunch of different sizes, and it comes with these little balls on the end, and that helps to keep you from poking holes in your snake's insides. There is another kind in here. This is supposed to be for hatchling snakes or very, very small snakes. This one does not have the ball on the end of it. So if you're using these little bitty teeny tiny ones, be very careful. So I do actually have a video already of how to probe your snake, so I will link that above, but this is what the probes look like, and I talk a little bit more in detail about them in that video, and each one obviously is for a different size, type, or age of snake. So you kind of just have to look at your snake and figure out what is the best size for them. But if you are getting into breeding snakes, this is definitely non-negotiable for sure. I have bought many snakes from people that I didn't know or people that were not necessarily reputable, and I've gotten the snake home and realized I bought a female and it turned out to be a male. Thankfully, I have not spent a bunch of money, lost money doing that, but it is very frustrating and disappointing. Definitely invest in one of these. Like I said, not very expensive, and it will save you a world of trouble. Bring this with you every time you have to buy a snake. If you go to a reptile show, I mean, they're not always gonna let you do it, especially at a reptile show, but bring it with you. You know, you never know. The worst they can say is no. If anyone is like hesitant or critical or just seems like they don't want you to use this, it could be sketchy. You know, I'm not saying that those people are necessarily lying. They may just not want you to probe their snake. I mean, that's a very invasive procedure, and I would say probably most people don't know what they're doing. So don't get discouraged if they don't want you to do it, but it is a great thing to have. As far as telling the sex of a snake, I am not good at popping at all. In fact, I think I've been successful like 2 out of 100 times that I've tried. So it's not a reliable method for me. So this is just a great thing for me to have. I actually have to probe one of my snakes to see if the gender is correct, because I tried to pair him with another of my females who I know is a female. I probed her when I got her. I actually have not probed him. So he was sold to me as a male, not a problem, but I have not seen a single lock last year or this year. So I don't know, you never know. I mean, they may just not want to breed together. I don't really know what would make a snake decide that they don't want to breed with one particular snake, but that is an issue that I've been having. So I finally found this since moving, and I can't wait to figure it out, and I will definitely let y'all know. Maybe I'll even stick a little clip in at the end so you can see. Alright guys, this is who we are probing today. This is the assumed male that I was going to put in with my pastel, possible super pastel female, and saw no locks last year. So we're going to try to probe this snake and see if it's a male or a female. So as I said earlier, I do have another video showing you exactly how to do this. So if you would like to watch that, I will link it below and in the top. This actually might be too big. Sometimes it looks like you might be able to use it, and then you try and it's too big. Okay, this is definitely a male. Definitely a male. I don't really know. We're okay. I don't really know why he is not locking up with the female. So if anyone has any ideas or suggestions as to why he may not be locking up with her after multiple attempts, leave it in the comments below. And that's all I got for today. So I'll see y'all next time. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for joining. I'm so glad to be back on YouTube again. Like seriously, y'all have no idea. I feel like I just have purpose again, you know? So it's really fun. Obviously, I enjoy interacting with everybody. I really love how my channel has grown up until this point. And as I've already said many, many times, I know it's been a while since I've been consistently posting, but it feels good. It feels good to be back on everything. So thank you so much for your patience. Thanks so much for your support, for sticking around. Love all y'all, and we'll see y'all next time. As far as telling the sex of what's the word I'm looking for? Hesitant or critical. I weighed him or her on this day and she was 200 grams. I'm about to drop this. I can do a video on hook and tap training if you would like. Let me know in the comments. You want to make sure that the water bowl you have, these are great because you have to move the snake around. I mean,